Flavors of Fiji will be 6 years old this year, and I grew up in a culture and a generation where when you'd go to somebody's house, you'd walk in the door and they'd say, "Go and eat," okay? And that's how we connected, showed our love for each other. I spent a lot of my childhood in Savasavu and, doing amazing things there with food, with my family. Long story short, the older I got, the more I realized I wanted to pay respect to the food culture that I had grown up with. And given social and cultural changes, global trends, people are viewing food differently now. Food is an experience. Food is an emotion. And I'm a big believer that through food we learn about culture. And this is my way, Flavors of Fiji, a vehicle to teach visitors to Fiji about our local food culture. So coming back to Fiji, putting this cooking school together was not without its challenges. But fast forward 6 years, we're very established now. We offer guests a culinary experience. They leave here understanding more about how we eat locally. I didn't want chefs. I didn't want fancy food. We have home-style cooks here because I just wanted to keep it real. Okay, this is food we eat at home, as you can see here. We focus on traditional, authentic Fijian cuisine and Indo-Fijian cuisine. Our lovely ladies who are our cooks are also our hosts. We have an army of 4, so we're a very small team. But they share their entertaining stories. They provide food culture lessons. They tell the guests about their lives, their childhoods, getting up at 3 a.m. to make 40 rotis for the family before they even go to school, and then she comes to work Aotea. And these are what culturally visitors find very, very interesting, because it is about lifestyle and social construct. So I came up with this concept and put it together. It's progressed through stages. But that's basically my premise for starting Flavors of Fiji, is paying respect to my culture. We initially started with our cooking classes. Now these were all based on seasonal ingredients. They're a fusion between Fijian and Indo-Fijian dishes. And we do feature 8-course menus. So that was kind of like the end product. Tourists come here, visitors come here. They have an insight into Fiji's local food culture, and they do that through the cooking classes. It's interactive, it's dynamic, they learn how to utilize the ingredients. So that was the first product. The second then we thought was the market tour, because it was essential that they understood where the produce came from. So interacting again with the local farming community, the middlemen. I'm a big believer in food titillating all of the senses. So you have the aromas of the market, it's a buzz with activity, the vibrant colors of the fresh produce, and that was a next level experience for them. So it was a perfect synergy to have the market tour and then the cooking classes. Moving back another step, we then decided, well, let's go back to the primary food providers. Let's go back to the farming community, where these ingredients, where this produce came from before it reached the market. So that was the third phase for our food tourism products at the cooking school. For a product, especially an agritourism product, you are linking the farm to the tourist market. I believe you need to create an educational, recreational, and entertaining experience, okay? There needs to be components of a bit of a story tell, not somebody standing there pointing, this is this is that. You need to engage with the visitors. You need to tell them a story. Secondly, there needs to be some form of interaction. If they're visiting a tapioca plantation or a ndalo plantation or pineapple plantation, they need to interact. They need to feel the soil between their hands. So whether it's digging out the tapioca, peeling it, learning how to do that, boiling it, and enjoying it with, something that's possibly pre-prepared, because you will be given time constraints, given the program. So just so they can see the process of that particular ingredient. The other hand is harvesting a pineapple, learning how to peel it, properly, Fiji-style ways, and also in enjoying it the many ways you can enjoy a pineapple. These are very interactive and very memorable experiences. They take away an intangible souvenir. They take away a memory. They go back home and they say, I ventured beyond the walls of the hotels. I learned how to make roti. I learned how to make vakalola fish. We tried some type of exotic seafood. I can make a curry. I've learned a lot more about Fiji's local food culture. I understand it better. And I did that through the cooking school, and going to the markets. It's just an eclectic mishmash of weird and wonderful people selling all of these different things, and you're engaging with them on a different level. It's not a sanitized level. We have our guides with the guests are chaperoned, but the trick was to provide an authentic product in a very controlled environment without losing any authenticity of the market experience. So they learn about our dishes, they get to sample things they probably would not have ordinarily, and they take away intangible souvenirs. Nandi is the tourism hub. There is still a huge gap in the marketplace, the niche marketplace, for niche products to develop that create linkages between the tourist sector and agritourism. There is so much opportunity and viability to create definite linkages with the road networks. We have accessibility now, but just basically collaborating and working together so we can produce these products. And my 5-year plan is to get this food tour underway, to start working directly with primary foods providers and to create products that showcase Fiji's local food culture, that assist farmers with additional revenue streams. The farmers are in a good position because it's not all about an all or nothing approach. We did a few test runs last year. We visited a few farms. We are always here and available. I understand the tourist market very well on a psychographic level, so I understand what they want, what they're looking for, and I'm absolutely happy in the meantime to help and advise on how to get all the components and elements balanced for a tourist-ready product. But my goal is to really elevate Fiji's local food culture. It is a tropical destination. Sand surf culture, that is the main driver. Food is a secondary motivator. But I do feel we can start to diversify their tropical holiday experiences by offering certain agritourism products and obviously food tourism by developing that. Right, well, there are various elements that need to be assessed, but back to basics here. We do have, in a business sense, punctuality. We run our classes strictly according to time frames and time schedules to ensure we cover everything. So I understand the whole Fiji time thing, but that's really not acceptable in a service level, especially when guests are paying. So punctuality, sticking to a very strict time frame. Reliability, being where you are when you say you're going to be there, super duper important. Consistency, providing the same thing, what you promised, over and over again. No improvisations, no changes, no last minute, cutbacks. It has to be what you promise, 100% delivery. Moving on from that, I think safety is very important for the farming community. If you're going to have visitors to your farm, you need to have land cleared, you need to have walkable walkways, so to speak. You need to have shade, because we are in a very humid, hot climate, which can be quite extreme at times, so you need to think of guest comfort. That's extremely paramount. Just to digress slightly, with Flavours of Fiji, I was completely aware of the fact that we are in a very, very hot tropical climate, and I was inviting guests to come in and cook over hot stoves. So I had to ensure that their comfort was paramount, and the only way I could do that was in a temperature-controlled, air-conditioned, modern cooking facility, because otherwise it would just be unbearable for them. So it's just all of these little things, making their comfort paramount, clearing of the fields, that there's no rust or nails, or, you've really got to be bang on with this, because this is the one thing they'll probably remember when they leave. The other thing I think would be having an established point of contact, somebody we can call whose phone always rings, okay? Because this is the real world as well, and sometimes due to weather, plans may change, but having an established contact where there is always reception, and we can actually get through. Having staff on site who are not super well versed in the English language, but who can carry a conversation, who can answer questions, and if they're not sure, instead of making up the answer, they can actually say, I'll ask and we'll get back to you, with the right answer. But a big thing I think in Fiji is cultural sensitivity. Understanding where your visitors are coming from, understanding what is considered respectable in their cultural norms. It's all well and good to have a bit of a laugh here and there, but recognizing what is offensive for certain cultures and what isn't. And finally, I think a homemade gift, something that they can take away that is tangible, whether it's something woven, it doesn't have to cost anything, probably just a bit of time. A woven basket or a little woven bird or something, just so they have something tangible to take away. If you're on a pineapple farm, a slice of pineapple with some locally grown mint sprinkled over the top. These are the things. And look, another paramount, these are all important elements, but is hygiene. Okay? In the tourist market, you predominantly have two types of tourists. You've got your neophilic and neophobic tourists. Okay, neophilic tourists are happy to come to third world countries. They're happy to try these wonderful new strange cuisines, go to local hole-in-the-wall eateries, They want to get in there to the local food culture. But then you've got your neophobic tourists who are quite anxious travelers when it comes to food, concerned about hygiene, cleanliness. They don't want to get sick, so they'll probably gravitate more towards outlets in the hotels. Or fast food chains like McDonald's that they're familiar with. So the key element, and this is something that I was very adamant about focusing on in the beginning, is to remove that level of anxiety within the guest, to ensure our hygiene is of the utmost standard, to ensure food is stored correctly, presented correctly, fresh water is available, because you can't run a product where people are consuming things and getting sick afterwards. So hygiene is probably the most important thing, so they can enjoy the experience. They can take away a lot from Fiji's local food culture.